Good morning and welcome in my YouTube channel. Today we will discuss about the details of the posterior triangle of the neck. In later class, I have discussed just few features of anterior and posterior triangles and their boundaries. And now we are discussing about the posterior triangle of the neck. Please note some milestones here. This is the posterior lateral aspect of the skull. This is mastoid process and occipital region here. And here is the one thick muscle originating from here, that is trapezius muscle, long muscle here, and this lower limit is the clavicle, and this is the external end and this is the external. And you see here one long muscle, that is sternocleidomastoid, that splits in two parts, in two heads, is external and clavicular head. In this, the posterior border of the sternocleidomastoid and anterior border of the trapezius muscle, this forms a triangle, and lower limit is upper surface of the clavicle. This is posterior triangle of the neck, and its contents now, and flow first. The uppermost part is covered by, it is almost covered by the muscular layer. Uppermost part is covered by the semi-spinalis capitis muscle. Below this is splenius capitis muscle. And below this is levator scapulae muscle, levator scapulae. And inferior most part, it's three muscles, scalenus anterior, it is almost hidden by the inferior belly of the sternocleidomastoid muscle. Few fibers you can visualize here. And just posterior and above is the scalenus intermedius muscle. In both muscles fiber, in lower zone, here you can see, visualize the tunnel, that is scalene tunnel. This is scalene tunnel here. This is important because in this few structures emerges and crosses here. Most important is your subclavian artery. Here is subclavian artery. It emerges through this tunnel, and above these few fibers of the brachial cord emerges from here. So this tunnel is very important, and anterior to this anterior scalenus anterior muscle comes forward and laterally your subclavian artery. Subclavian vein is this, subclavian artery, subclavian artery, subclavian vein, and this is brachial plexus, part of the brachial plexus. So the whole floor is covered, and most important is piercing the levator scapulae, one nerve emerges through this, that is dorsal scapular nerve, dorsal scapular nerve, and it supplies, and one nerve emerges from here, that is scalenus medius, and one artery, important artery, you can see here, occipital artery. This again it is divided into two parts. Posterior triangle of the neck is divided into two parts, suboccipital triangle and supraclavicular or subclavian, while posterior belly of omohyoid muscle. In previous slide, I mentioned superior or inferior belly. It is, or I called in one lecture, it is anterior and posterior belly due to relation of the muscle fiber. but it is superior and inferior valley of omohyoid. It divides the both this triangle into two triangles. One above is suboccipital triangle. Second one is supraclavicular or subclavian triangle. Subclavian triangle is very important clinically because it is a dangerous area of your neck. Subclavian vein is here. If any lacerated comminuted fracture occurs in RTA, that may lead to, due to low pressure of the venous end here, that may suck air and make frothing in the heart and multiple embolus and infarct, air infarct, bolus infarct, and air bubble may block the vital organs of the body and brain, and that may lead to death. This area is very important. It is, and few important nerves here. One, external jugular vein that crosses the sternocleidomastoid muscle above the clavicle in this region, and it receives its tributaries like transverse cervical vein, it runs along with the transverse cervical artery. And few cutaneous nerves, they emerges from here. This the most important is, one is, second, it is greater auricular nerve and transverse cervical, posterior occipital and supraclavicular nerve. These four important nerves run from this triangle. So important contents are this occipital artery and nerve to the trapezius, nerve to the levator scapulae, here subclavian artery, subclavian vein and brachial plexuses, part of the brachial plexuses, your external jugular vein and its tributaries. These are the important contents of the posterior triangle of the neck. Next I will deal anterior triangle of the neck with details, floor, content and roof. Thanks.